everyone, it's Nicole again, and thank you so much for joining me for my first video of 2015. Today I'm going to be making a clean and simple card using an older stamp set, Flutter By, but I'm going to be using its new coordinating dies that were just released. I'm also going to be using these stitched rectangle stackable dies. I'm going to be using these here on the back, the smaller size. I'm also going to be using 2 pieces of watercolor cardstock, a variety of distress inks, and this mini mister as well. So to get started, I'm using the Versamark ink. It's a sticky ink that's perfect for embossing. So I'm just taking this really pretty flower image and I'm going to stamp it here in the Versamark onto the watercolor cardstock. You can't see it on camera, and it's actually a little bit hard for me to see in person too, but it is transferring that glue ink. So just to show you here, I'm going to take this white embossing powder and I'm just going to sprinkle that over the stamped image. It's still a little bit hard to see, but you could see it just a little bit, and in person I'm able to see it more so that I could stamp out the rest of my flower images. I'm just tapping off the excess. Now I forgot to use the anti-static bag, so I did get a little bit of embossing powder in places that I didn't want it, but that's okay. You could just take a dry paintbrush and then just kind of take that off by hand. So now I'm just going to add another flower here. I wanted 5 flowers. And now I'm just going to take this little leaf image here and I'm going to stamp out 3 of those as well. Just add a little bit more of the white embossing powder. Removing a little bit more. I forgot to use the anti-static bag again. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and take my heat tool and I'm going to heat set that. Hopefully you can see on camera as it's changing and setting in. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and take a couple different colors of this dressing here. I'm just going to smear that on my craft mat, give it a little spritz. And then I'm just going to take my paintbrush, dab it in a little cup of water just for a little wash over the flower image. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start picking up color and adding it to the flowers like this. And I'm kind of just having fun with it here. I'm just adding color in places that I think it will look really nice, and adding the darkest colors in the middle and on the bottom so that it'll start blending in with all the lighter colors that I'm adding. So the colors that I chose to color in these flowers are Tattered Rose, Spun Sugar, Shaded Lilac, Picked Raspberry, Spiced Marmalade, and Scattered Straw. And these are like my go-to colors when I'm coloring anything really pretty like flowers or the butterflies or anything like that, because I just really like this collection of colors and how they blend together. Now I have to say that they actually the color did look a little bit darker in person, and I think it was just my camera that made it look like super pastel-y, but in person it was darker. See, when my hand creates that shadow, you can kind of see the real color. Next, I'm taking the colors Bundled Sage and Shabby Shutters to color in these 3 leaves here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I just added a little bit water first for the wash, and then I'm just adding in color and then just letting it naturally mix in together. And I think that came out really pretty, so I'm just going to go ahead and set that aside to dry. And I'm just going to remove all the ink that I had here and kind of just start over because I want to be creating a color for the background panel that the flowers are going to go on top of. Now I wanted it to be really light, so I'm using the Tattered Rose, Spun Sugar, and Shaded Lilac. They're really light colors. I didn't want it to take too much away from the watercolored flowers, so this is going to be a really pretty, just soft color. And I'll set that aside to dry as well. You could also dry this with the heat tool, but I kind of don't like the way the heat tool warps the paper, so I just went ahead and let it dry on its own. And then when I came back when it was dry, I'm just going to go ahead and die cut all these little pieces here. And then off camera I already went ahead and die cut my panel also using the largest of the small stitch rectangle dies. So the one that would fit just like that. Next I'm going to go ahead and take the greeting from the same stamp set. It's the sentiment that says "Believe in your dreams." And I'm just going to go ahead and emboss that in some really fine gold embossing powder. And I think that looks really nice, and I think it's going to go great with the colors that I chose for the flowers. And then off camera here you could also see that I just kind of did a rough arrangement of how I wanted it to look. But I'm also going to take that apart and then kind of just show you how I came up with that arrangement. So I'm just taking my heat tool here and setting in the sentiment in the gold embossing powder. And now I'll just go ahead and show you how I arranged this entire thing. This panel here that holds the sentiment, I think it would also be really cute if you did it in like another color or even in some vellum. I think that would look really pretty, but I did kind of like the way it looked with white and gold, so that's what I went with. I'm just adding some little pencil markings here so that when I go back and adhere it, I know exactly where to place it. Because I always hate when I come up with a really pretty arrangement and then I could never figure out where I placed it. I'm sorry for that movement there. I actually dropped that on the floor and had to pick it up again. Next, for this last flower on this corner, I wanted to go ahead and pop that up on some 3D foam adhesive. I'm just going to go ahead and chop that off here with this serrated edge scissors. I thought that would look really cute. I also thought about doing like a banner end, but then I just thought that the serrated edge would look really pretty, so I went with that. Then I'm just going to arrange this flower here on the corner and adhere that as well. And I think I'm also going to put some foam adhesive here on this flower. I think that would look really pretty. And I'm really liking the way that came out. Now I went ahead and pre-cut the cardstock, a top folding cardstock piece. And now I just need to adhere this panel onto that. And I'm going to be also using this Scotch 3D foam adhesive. I actually think this is going to be turning into one of my favorite types of foam adhesive because it's a little bit thinner. And it's just a little bit of 3D, and you could stack all types of different things on top of it, like when I'm doing critters on top of critters or critters on top of trees, and it's not too high up with the 3D. So I think this is going to be my go-to from now on. Now I had to stand up here just to make sure I got everything in the center. Sorry about that. So just for a little bit of added sparkle, I'm going to go ahead and add some gold sequins. And I think that looks fine there. I didn't want to add too many. So I'll just go ahead and permanently adhere those. Got a little bit on my tweezers here. And there's the card. I think this came out really pretty, and I love that Lawn Fawn is starting to come out with a lot of coordinating dies for old stamp sets. So thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.